It's Louise from the Fabric Shop in Ruston. I want to show you a short video today. I want to teach you how to do one of my most favorite fun things to do. We're going to make snappy bags. Quick, easy, kids can do it. You can do it with your children, with your grandchildren. It's an instant success and you can use your scraps. I'm going to show you how. This is a snappy bag, a neat little bag that you can put anything in it. I use them for my pieces for my board games like checkers, those games I'll put all our little pieces in a snappy bag. I use them for my USB drives, I use them for bobbins, anything small that you need a bag to put them in. This is it. I even have one that I put my jewelry in when I travel. In my purse there are three. One has my sunglasses, one has my makeup, and the other one is my coin purse. So let me show you how this is done. They can be made any size. The trick is you want the length to be twice as long as the width. You can make them any size. If I were doing sunglasses, I'd probably use a piece of fabric that was 4.5 to 5 inches wide and about 14 inches long. Let me show you. We make kits here in the store, and our kits are already made. They're the right width, the right length. We have everything in them. In a kit for snappy bags, you will find the Snappy. You see what it is. It's a carpenter's ruler. You go to your local hardware store, you buy the cheapest 16-foot carpenter's ruler you can buy. Now, I ordered one off the internet that was real cheap, and that's just what I got. Something that was so cheap, it was less than a ½ inch wide, it said 16 feet, and it was thin and it would not work. Notice this has a snap to it. You can get them at any hardware store. Don't spend over $5 for a carpenter's ruler. And when Daddy has used his and he's ready for a new one, claim it immediately, claim it. So that's what you make the Snappy from. The fabric to make the bag can be any of your scraps as long as a good size is 14 inches long for the outside fabric, and your lining needs to be 4 inches longer. So if I were making this bag right here, I would do my outside fabric would be 14 inches long and 7 inches wide. My lining fabric, because the lining comes over and makes the pretty edging right here, would be 18 inches long and 7 inches wide. Then you have batting. The batting, your leftover quilt batting, your batting is the same width and 14 inches long, the same length as your outside fabric. All right, so we're going to open the kit up, and inside the kit you will find your batting, your lining, your outside fabric. If you're making your own, you have made those 3 pieces of fabric twice as long for the outside as the width, okay? Now, the pull. Notice on this one, I have used a prairie point for my pull. On this one, I have used a ruler. And at the end of this video, I really want to show you what's inside this snappy bag because I think you'll want to make those too. On my tech ones, I've just got a grosgrain ruler, a grosgrain ribbon, okay? This is one that's great for coins. This is one I made for my old iPhone, which was smaller than the one I've got right now. The one I have right now won't fit. All right, let's talk about it. You're going to put wrong sides together, and you're going to put your batting in between, wrong sides together. You're going to center your outside fabric so that you have 2 inches. Let me move this so you can see it good. You have 2 inches extending on each side. Then you're going to take your square. For a prairie point, you know, you make a square. You take a square of fabric to make a prairie point. Take a square of fabric. I happen to have used 3 inches on this one. You can do, if you want a big prairie point, do 4 inches. If you want a little one, do 2 inches. I used a 3-inch square. To make the prairie point, you fold it in half, like so. Then you fold it in half again, and you've got your prairie point. Then you take it and you place it in the center, one on each side, in the center. And I drop down about a ½ inch, and then sew it with your sewing machine so that you have given it some extra reinforcement, okay? After you've done that, you're going to fold 1 inch down and press it. fold down the inch, press it, and then top stitch it right along the edge. Same thing on this side, and top stitch. When you do, you will have something that looks just like this. Notice the top stitching on my piece of fabric. This is not just a straight row of stitching. Nearly every sewing machine has something called a top stitch, which goes 2 stitches back, a stitch forward, and it's a heavy stitch. Do that, it looks so much better. It's usually stitch number 2 right next to your straight stitch on your sewing machine. So look and find that and do your row of stitching with that stitch. Alright, so you see how it looks. At this point you put it together, right sides together, start at the top and stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Now we want to serge the seam if you have a serger. If you don't have a serger, you're going to zigzag it. You're going to zigzag it so that it's going to look. Can you see that good? Let's look right here. See that? See how it's zigzagged together right there? Let me show you something that's very important. On a regular sewing machine, you have several different zigzag stitches. The regular zigzag stitch looks like this. It goes left to right, left to right, left to right, and that's a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. But there's a prettier zigzag stitch. We call it a Zorro stitch. The Zorro stitch goes straight across and then down, straight across and then down. It's called a Zorro stitch because at the beginning of his show, Zorro would take his sword and he'd go straight across and then come down. But find that stitch on your sewing machine. When you take the zigzag stitch, make it closer together and stitch about 1 inch. Then find your Zorro stitch. Stitch about 1 inch of that stitch. Look at the two of them. There is no comparison. This stitch is smooth and beautiful and fills in and actually uses less thread than this zigzag stitch. Try it. So take that stitch and use it for your serge stitch to cover the edge of your seam right here and close it up so it won't be raw, so you don't have a raw seam. Now notice we've got one closed, one side is open, one side's closed. At this point it's time to put your snappies in. Now let's talk about snappies just a minute. Now we have cut these off at 1 inch shorter, and now you want to round the corners. You want to take an old pair of scissors that you designate just for trimming your snappies, and you want to round the corner. What we use is a file here in the fabric shop. We have an electric buffer, an electric sander that we sand the corners so they're not sharp and file them with the buffer. Then we take a piece of tape, and it can be any kind of tape. It can be an electrician's tape. Here you'll find on this end of this bag, let me pull it out so you can see it better. There's electrician's tape on this end. There is painter's tape on this end. It doesn't matter what kind of tape. It can be duct tape. Just a little piece of tape to cover the end just to protect that metal so it will not cut through your fabric. And that's important. So at this point, you're going to put your 2 snappies in. You're going to slide them in on both sides. Pull it tight on both sides. Push it all the way to the other side. Now, another thing that's very important, you want the curved side. You see this has 2 sides, a concave and a convex side. The curved side that's sticking out needs to go toward the front, towards the outside of the bag. So it goes in with the curved side out. That's very important. Push it all the way to the edge. Start your seams together and stitch another 1/4 inch seam on this side and zigzag it. And when you do, you'll have it, it'll look like this, okay? Now, notice this bag does not have a bottom. This tech bag has a little bottom. It would stand up if I popped it up. This one has a bigger bottom, you see? So it'll just kind of stand up on its own. If you want a bottom, then what you do is center your side seam and then stitch right across the bottom. The higher up you make your stitch, the deeper your bottom. This one was a little higher up, so it's a deeper bottom. If you want just a little tiny bottom, like, well, this one's a little tiny bottom right here. See? It's got a little tiny bottom. Then you're just stitching this much with the seam in the center. When you've done that, you're finished. It's finished. All you got to do now is turn it right side out. Poke your side bottom out. And look what you got. A beautiful snappy bag. Now, make these for any time you have a small gift for somebody. I'd like to show you, if I may, what I have in this bag. In this bag, I made a baby gift. I needed a baby gift. So I took some scrap fabric that I had, and I made a snappy bag. I made this little game. This is the little game. You take the fabric, and you cut you a square. I just cut a 4-inch square. Take some white fabric, cut a 4-inch square, 4-inch of batting, and then this is a quick and easy matching game. Now, the beautiful thing about this game, my college student and I played it yesterday and had so much fun, but you take your mat, you've got 2 of a kind, and you turn them upside down. And if it's a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, you might start off with 6 pieces. If it's an older child, you do a lot more pieces. And you turn them upside down, and then the game is, let's turn them over and see if we can match. That one matched. Well, where's the match like that? Oh, that's not it. Didn't match. So it's the other person's turn. And then they get to turn 2 over. If they match, they get to keep them. If they don't match, they have to turn them back over. And you try to remember where the colors are so that you can match them. And then whoever has the most matched pair wins. So we have this game here in the store. Whoever wins doesn't have to vacuum. Whoever gets the most matched pair, and it helps for our brain, helps us with our brain exercises. It's a fun game. It's a fun game for 2-year-olds or for grandmother. This is Louise Adams from the Fabric Shop in Ruston. I hope you'll go home and make some snappy bags. If you have any questions or need any help, you can call me at the Fabric Shop in Ruston. And I hope to put a lot more little projects on the video on our YouTube channel that you can do with your grandchildren and your children while we're staying at home and enjoying our family. Stay safe, wash your hands, keep a mask on when you're out in public.